Good morning. My name is Mamweletsi Musia, and I am the Operations Manager at Next Generation Enterprises and Institution, and I'll be your Program Director today. Welcome to the 2021 CSIR Principal and Chief Researcher Awards. I must say, when we started this award a long time ago, it was a small event at Knowledge Commons, and to see it having grown to what it is today, it's really a pleasure. A greeting to all our colleagues and audience. I think today it's very special because I believe some of our family members are also joining us the proceedings live stream. And I would just like to remind the ones who are joining live stream to make sure that they keep their mics on mute. And of course that applies to us here as well. Can we have our phones on vibrate or silent? I'd like to extend a special welcome to our the CSIR Board Chairperson, Professor Thokozani Majozi, our CEO, Dr. Thulani Dlamini, and the leadership members who are here. I would also like to recognize the media houses that are joining us today. We have Engineering News, Engineering IT, Vukuzenzele, IT Web, and all the others that are here. So we're living in a social media times, and therefore we must always ensure that we are hashtagging. So for those of us who are ready to hashtag and tell the world that CSIR is celebrating its chief principals and chief researchers today, our hashtag is CSIR Principal and Chief Researcher Awards 2021, all one word. For the oldies, the hashtags are, I understand they are one word, so just make sure it's just one word, CSIR Principal and Chief Researcher Award 2021. The Principal and Chief Researcher Award initiative is very important to the CSIR, and in case you're not aware, it's one of our KPIs, and it facilitates the retention of key employees by recognizing achievement and behavior that are crucial to the strategy and sustainability of the organization. The awards also instill the meaning of excellence in the CSIR as aligned to our EPIC values. As you know, excellence is one of our values. Our values shape and drive the way we influence positive change in society and within the organization, on how we interact with each other and how we work together to achieve excellence. I think we've played around with words here. We're talking about how we work together to achieve excellence. And in case you do not know, collaboration is yet another one of our values. Most importantly, our EPIC values define the very culture we want to inculcate and the one that we live by. But before I get carried away, I would like for us to get a safety briefing from the ICC, and I'd like Morgan to come up front and just help us to understand how we can keep safe this morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the CSIR International Convention Center. My name is Morgan Matlangu. Please do not change seats for the duration of the meeting. Practice physical distancing. Please keep a distance of 1.5 meters from other attendees and staff. Mask and sanitizer. Remember to wear your mask at all times. Sanitizing stations located in the foyer and all around the building. If you develop any symptoms, please report to reception. Temporary isolation facilities are available. Please remember to fill an online COVID questionnaire on a daily basis before accessing the CSIR ICC sites. In the event of an emergency, an alarm will sound throughout the building. Trained responders will give instructions on evacuation. Stay calm, take only belongings that you can carry. Emergency procedure, walk in an orderly manner, do not run. Responders will lead us to an emergency exit, then to the assembly point. Please observe 1.5 physical distancing. General information, restrooms are available throughout the building. Please look out for signages. As this is a public building, please do not leave your valuables unattended. Refreshments are served in biodegradable packaging to avoid contact. Beverages are served individually, including sweets, in the venues. Only venues with fresher intake are being used. Restrooms' main doors are left open to improve ventilation. Wi-Fi information: free wireless internet access is available throughout the building. Select free CSIR ICC on your device, and no password is required. I thank you. Enjoy your time at the CSIR Convention Center.
Dr. Lamine, I'm just curious if the safety briefing is up to the standards of the safety moments that we now need to make with all our events. But anyway, since we do it all the time, I assume that you are satisfied with it. And on that note, I would like to hand over to you, our CEO, who, as you're coming up front to come and deliver a welcoming address. However, before I do that, I would like to tell people a little bit about you. You probably are wondering, after so many years at the CSIR, why are they even bothering? As I said, there are people who are listening online. So they need to know that as we celebrate excellence, we are led by excellence itself. So Dr. Dlamini was appointed to the CSIR in February 2017. He joined the CSIR in 2005 as the head of the National Laser Center. And in 2008, he was appointed in the position of Group Executive Research and Development, a position he held until 2011 when he left the CSIR to join SASOL. At SASOL, he was the Executive Manager, Research and Development, and later became Vice President for Strategic Research and Technology. Dr. Dlamini holds a PhD in chemistry, focusing in catalysis from the University of Witwatersrand, and a master's in business leadership from the University of South Africa. He holds 5 patents in the field of physiotrops, just in case you're saying, how can he lead us when he does not know research? He is a member of the Presidential Commission of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, National Advisory Council on Innovation, and the South African Academy of Science. With a resume as impressive as this, it's no wonder that he's leading us. Dr. Dlamini, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Musia, for your very generous words. I think you were embellishing a little bit, but thank you so much for your kindness. Dr. Musia and I worked together at SASOL many years ago. I think maybe next time when you are the MC, we should also read your CV. She's also a very accomplished researcher, as some of you would know. But colleagues, good morning. I would like to, first of all, acknowledge the presence of the chairperson of our board, Professor Tuzani Majosi, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment at Wits University, members of the CSR leadership present today, our new chief and principal researchers, as well as everyone who is joining this event either here at the ICC or through our virtual platform. Good morning to you all and welcome. This is indeed a very special day where we celebrate excellence and we celebrate the achievements and the career milestones of our new principal and chief researchers. I say this because the success of a research, development, and innovation organization like ours depends on the quality and the caliber of the employees that work in our organization, in our ability to deliver on our strategy and to develop innovations and solutions that enable us to reach our intentions and deliver on our mandate depend on the caliber and the maturity of our set base and our set capability within the CSIR. Then today we recognize 28 colleagues who have been promoted to positions of principal researchers and 7 colleagues who have been promoted to positions of chief researchers. Now, promotions in the set base are primarily as a result of individual effort, determination, drive, and a desire to achieve more than where one finds themselves at a particular time. The organization only creates an environment and provides mechanisms for our scientists and engineers to thrive and to rise to their highest potential. Of course, ensuring that this happens within the context of our organizational strategy and our mandate. There's something even more special about the group of colleagues that are being recognized today. And that is that for the first time in the history of the CSIR, we'll have 3 Black African chief researchers in our midst. It is indeed a significant milestone for the organization and, of course, a huge achievement for the colleagues who are being recognized today. What is also pleasing is that we have a very healthy pipeline of principal researchers, which includes Black, African, females within them. And it gives one hope that in the not so distant future, we might be able to see our first Black, African, female chief researcher within the organization, which of course will be a huge achievement and a huge milestone for us. One of my concerns about our organization is the level of scientific leadership that we have in CSIR. I'm not talking about the quality of scientific leadership. Think more about the quantum, the critical mass of SCT leadership that we need to achieve our intentions and our strategy. I think we need more principal and chief researchers in the CSIR to realize the intentions of our strategy. Perhaps to put this into context, with the promotion that we are seeing today, this would lead to an increase in the percentage of principal researchers to only 13% of the set base. And if you look at chief researchers, that will increase to 1.2% of the set base. Now, you'll agree with me that these numbers are low. I think I see this as a significant risk for the organization in terms of our ability to deliver on our strategy. And I say this because our principal and chief researchers have the responsibility to bring to the CSIR the big strategic opportunities for working with industry and government through projects, as well as the establishment of long-term strategic capabilities and other initiatives that will ensure that as a CSIR deliver on our mandate and that we realize the kind of impact that we wish to make. I think as executives, our role is to ensure that we support these opportunities that are brought about by the state leadership into the organization through the provision of resources and creating an environment for these opportunities to succeed. So colleagues, what I'm trying to get at is that there are very high expectations for our principal and chief researchers. We need a critical mass of state leadership to ensure that we can achieve the ambitions of our strategy. Particularly a state leadership that is both internally and externally facing, creating and cultivating new opportunities for the CSR to realize its strategic intent. I think in closing, I would like to congratulate our new principal and chief researchers on this remarkable achievement. Maybe to use the words of the Greek philosopher Aristotle, he says, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines one's destiny. Close quote. Congratulations once more to our chief and principal researchers who will be recognized today, and well done to all of you. Thank you very much.
I often hear you being called Dr. D, so I'm going to take the opportunity as well to thank you, Dr. D. A reminder once again of our social media hashtag. It's CSIR Principal and Chief Researcher Awards 2021, one word. I'm told that we have about 120 individuals joining us online so far. I'd like to encourage you to tell others to watch. It's a very important event to make the young ones to see that it's possible. So research group leaders, impact area managers, send an email, a message to your people and tell them, watch, it's possible, watch. The CEO has already spoken about Black South Africans that we're celebrating for a very first time in a long time. So just get them to watch. I know that, reactions are supposed to be happening and other things are supposed to be happening right now, but this is a very important moment for the CSIR. I would also like now to call upon our chairperson, another one of the very impressive people who are leading the organization, Professor Thokozani Majosi. He is a full professor and a dean in the School of Science, Chemicals and Metallurgical Engineering at Wits University, where he is also a chair of the National Research Foundation and Departments of Science and Innovation in Sustainable Process Engineering. Prior to joining Wits, he spent almost 10 years at the University of Pretoria, initially as an associate professor and later as a full professor of chemical engineering. He was also an associate professor in computer science at the University of Pannonia in Hungary from 2005 to 2009. Professor Majosi completed his PhD in process integration at the University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology in the United Kingdom. He is a fellow for the African Academy of Science, a member of the Academy of Science of South Africa, and a fellow for the Academy of Engineering of South Africa. He has received numerous awards for his research, including, amongst others, the National Order of Mapungubwe. I think at CSIR, you need to have that award to be associated with the organization. It's awarded by the President of the Republic of South Africa, the Reineker Memorial Award in Italy, S2A3 British Association Medal, and the South African Institute of Chemical Engineers Bill Neil May Gold Medal. He is a 3-time recipient of the NRF National Science and Technology Forum Award and has received the Presidential Award of the NRF twice. He has authored and co-authored more than 200 scientific publications, and including 4 books published by Springer and CRC Press. He's a B1 NRF research NRF-rated researcher. Once again, it's a no-brainer why he's our chair. Professor Majosi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Program Director, for the kind words. As the CEO said, I'm taking the cue from him. If these are the kind words, well, it is truth, maybe that you are sharing with us. But the CEO drew my attention to something, Program Director, as we were saying, the oldies. There is a caveat that you said, that you raised when we were talking about the continuity of the hashtag. That is one word. He said, but did you see that Dr. Mutia looked at our table when she was talking about the oldies? And maybe it's true that that's the table with the eldest people in the room. It could be the reason. I just want to share this. When I was very, very young, I think I was at the age of about 11, I read quite a lot. That's one of the things I do more than any other. I laid my hands on a book known as The Richest Man in Babylon by George Watson. I think you would have read that book. Old book, written in 1926. And somewhere there, the rabbi is sitting with students and he asks, who is an evil man? And then the students, in awe, look at this old rabbi quietly. They look at each other, no one responds. And he repeats, who is an evil man? And ultimately, one brave child raises his hand or her hand and says, an evil man is someone who promises but does not deliver. It is someone who borrows without any intention to pay back. That's an evil man. And surprisingly, the rabbi says, you're right. It is someone who borrows without an intention to deliver. Now, when you say to someone, I will be there at a particular time, basically you've just invoked a sense of expectation from that. So basically, that person expects you to deliver on that particular promise. The only way you can pay back into that expectation is to be there at that time. I say this because when I promised Dr. Dlamini that I would be here this morning, the world was slightly different from what it is on my side today. But because I did not want to be an evil man, I decided to be here this morning because I had promised to be here at this time. But this was a long time ago, and that has shaped my life for a very long time. In fact, it's what characterizes the person that I am. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Otherwise, I don't promise. But ladies and gentlemen, I thought there would be members of the board this morning here, and I realized maybe you reserve this invitation to only me, which is not supposed to be the case. It's supposed to be the whole board. I think I'm the only member of the board that is here. But to the executive team that is here, the CEO, Dr. Dlamini, and your executive team, the members of staff, everyone that is here, the chief scientists, researchers, the members of the media, and all the distinguished guests that have joined us this morning, a really, really, really good morning to you all. This is indeed a red letter day for us in our calendar. It is one of those days, besides the fact that it is always something in me to honor a promise. The very fact that today we are honoring chief scientists and chief researchers just made it really, really more important for me to be here. Because that group of people is really the group that I admire the most, to be frank with you, within the organization. I will say this before I just maybe dwell on really the chief scientists and the chief researchers. When the new CEO was appointed, a role in which I played a very, very, very big part as the chairperson of the board. I recall this vividly, Dr. Dlamini, that I said to you, there were three things that this CEO would have to do just to gain favor with the board and maybe the minister, who is the main stakeholder in this organization. I said to him, the first thing that you would have to do is to look very closely at the chief researcher cohort within the organization. Wherever I go, I'm asked, what is happening in that space? Why are we not seeing African scientists, South African in particular, in that space? And I can't answer. If you can change that, you will gain favor with us. This should not happen at the exclusion of anyone else. It should happen within an inclusive environment, but it cannot be explained why in a country of so many people of color or black people, you don't have even a single South African researcher. It doesn't make sense. That was the first thing. The second one was you will need to bring this organization closer to industry. If you look at the mandate of the organization, it states very clear that the work that is done at the CSIR is the one that is meant to transform the lives of ordinary people in the country for the better. So we have to work with industry. We have to be where it matters most when it comes to innovation and commercialization. And we don't seem to be present in that space. If you change that, you will be in our good books. That was the second thing. The third and the last thing that I mentioned, these were not in any way in order. I was just mentioning this randomly, but they were the three uppermost issues in my list, is to make sure that we communicate what is happening within the organization. The marketing drive must be very visible. A child in Mamelodi, which is just a stone's throw away from here, must know what's happening at the CSIR. It just does not make sense that a child in Mamelodi doesn't even know that CSIR exists. So there should be a marketing drive. That is very, very clear in terms of what this organization is about. I must have an 8-year-old who says to me, one day when I grow up, my dad, I would like to work for the CSIR. And they must know what they're talking about. I said, if you can just achieve these 3 things, we will be friends. But if you don't, we are not going to be very good friends. So today we become friends with Dr. Dlamini because he tells me that there is that transformation that is very visible in the cohort that is being honored this morning, and I really, really appreciate that. It's a message that has already been shared with the board, and the board is equally excited. But I want to say something here. That is always easy to talk from a distance. It's another matter when you're closer and you are asked to really put your hands on deck and make things happen. The issue of transformation in the country is sometimes underrated. In other words, people who talk about it are people who have not been really where it matters most. It is not easy to transform the scientific space in South Africa because you've got a very small number of people who are sought after by so many other people. Some of those people can actually afford to accommodate those people financially. So the incentives are very high, something that CSR might not be able to achieve, something that even universities are struggling with. So this is not a very easy thing to do, but there's something more that makes it very difficult, particularly when it comes to chief scientists and principal scientists. And I want to say this to you very clear, to all of you colleagues that are here, that being a chief researcher or a chief scientist or being a principal researcher or a principal scientist is not a promotion. You have not been promoted to becoming a principal researcher or a chief scientist. Don't say that. It's not a promotion. If it was a promotion, we could have long changed that. It's easy to promote people. It is a recognition. So today we recognize you for the talent that you are. And that is the part that makes it so difficult to transform in that space. As a chief scientist, you must go anywhere in the world and hold your own and be recognized as a chief scientist anywhere in the world, not just in South Africa. You now become a global citizen. And that is what makes it very difficult to accomplish. If it was a promotion, you could do it tomorrow. It's like saying now, talking as an academic myself, I tell my students this all the time. My colleagues would come to a meeting and say, I've got a 100% pass rate, I've got X% pass rate. I don't know why we even talk about pass rate. To make people pass is very easy. I can get a 100% pass rate tomorrow. And to make people fail is also very easy. I can have a 0% pass rate tomorrow. But to impart knowledge and make people really understand, that's a different matter altogether. And that's what you should be talking about. Not the passing and the failing. So I felt that that message must be very trenchant, and it must hit hard where it matters most. You are being recognized today for the talent that you are. But that recognition comes with a lot of responsibilities. It's not just a mere recognition. If there was a honeymoon period, just maybe have a glass of wine this evening and it ends there. Tomorrow, the work begins. It's just a few hours and the work begins. In you now, we see the future. If you talk about the future of the CSIR, really, you are talking about the people who are in this room this afternoon. You now become mentors to those who come after you. That burden is even more when it comes to the chief scientists, because you also have the principal researchers who are looking up to you, who measure themselves using you as the vademecum. You are now the compass that they look at all the time. You too, by the way, I would be surprised if there's any individual in this room who has achieved what you've achieved without having a mentor. Mentors play a very critical part in the development of any human being, but even more so when it comes to a scientist. I always say it is silly not to have a mentor. It doesn't matter how old you are. I also have my own mentors. I was just talking to Dr. Sisa Pichana there, because one of my mentors is actually Professor Pani Pichana, who I talk to when I'm very, very confused. I just pick up the phone, and he always has, some good answers because he's been there done that. Everyone must have a mentor. It's one of the mentors, but I have a few the world over. So we talk of this vision, and I think I won't belabor what the CEO said early on, the vision of being close to industry, because this is now our new strategy, takes us closer to industry. But that won't be realized without you. But with that comes another complication, and this is where perhaps there would have to be a conversation. Scientists, by their very nature, are not the type of people who will go to industry and bring the work CEO that you want them to bring here. I heard you in your speech, you said that we expect you to go, pursue the strategy, bring business to the organization. Scientists tend not to be good at that. I'm not sure, maybe a different scientists. Scientists tend to be good at making things work in the lab. But to communicate to industry in a language that industry can understand. If, for example, the CEO of by any chance, say Boeing, I know that that would be someone very, very educated in this. But let's say, for example, someone says, why does a plane fly? You can't say that you need a pressure drag so that you have a pressure gradient across the fuselage of the plane with the laminar flow and turbulent flow on top so that it flies. You can't say that. I haven't figured out, by the way, how you'd say it so that you understand. But you cannot say that. So there has to be a language now. And scientists are not good at this, to have a language that is crafted to a particular audience. So your language now, and this is very serious as a chief scientist, you can no longer now talk only to scientists, you'll also be talking to people who are not scientists, and you must talk the language that they can really understand. But to that, I think I can forgive the CEO because he put together a very nice structure with his executive, where there's actually a conduit that links this organization to industry. There's a name, what do you call those? Yeah, there's a divisional group executive, but there is a business. Yeah, business development and commercialization manager. That was a very clever thing to do. That becomes the bridge between us and industry. And again, as you know, your responsibility does not end here at the CSR. It goes well beyond the confines of the organization. Now, for any success, you always will need about three things, particularly in an organization like ours. I heard the program director, I think, beautifully stated that we have the right leadership in Dr. Tsulani Dlamini. I don't think that we could have done better than that as an organization. And I'm not saying it because I'm flattering him, because it's too late for me now to flatter him. I'm saying this because it was an accomplishment for us as the board to get someone like you to be the leader of the CSR. It was a great accomplishment. And we are where we are today because we had someone like you. So we are a critical part of the equation that I'm going to put forth, that we need to see success. First and foremost, you definitely need visionary leadership, which I have no doubt we have in you. In a place like ours, you'd have to have what I would call intellectual plenitude, or what I would call an intellectually fertile environment. That's all we can offer, by the way, as the CSR. CSR, like a university, I'll wear these two caps because I'm attached to the university. I always tell my colleagues that we have only a fertile, intellectually fertile environment to offer. We can only challenge our people intellectually and excite them intellectually for them to stay here. It's the only incentive we can give. If we fail at that, they will leave. So you need an environment that is intellectually fertile, and I think CSR does meet the grade when it comes to that. If it doesn't, shout. And I think in the leadership of Dr. Dlamini, that can be good. It must be fertile. You must feel that you are in a space as an intellectual. And then thirdly, you'll need good head. This is now dependent on you. You need someone who has the good attitude. You need someone who is hungry for knowledge. You need someone who has no time to rest. You need someone whose intellectual appetite is always at its peak. Someone who is always fully charged intellectually, so that when that proverbial spark of genius, if it should perhaps manifest itself, would find something to ignite. If there's nothing to ignite, nothing is going to come from there. So you're right, Dr. Damini, there is nothing known as an accident when it comes to research. Accident is just about readiness. It is the right mind which is ready at the right time. That is what we call an accident. If the mind is not ready, it does not matter what opportunities you have. It means absolutely nothing. So that will leave up to you. We can, as leadership of this organization, ensure that the leadership is pointing in the right direction. We can ensure that the environment is fertile, because that's all you do. You create a fertile environment, and people then must uplift themselves to take advantage of that situation, and of course rise to the level that all of you have risen to. Without that, there's nothing really that you can do. So those are the ways that I wanted to share with you, but we always place emphasis on African male, in this case it's males that are being honored, but also there is a dimension here that is very important, the dimension of women of all colors, and we see that a lot in this new cohort that is being honored today. I don't know if you, at some point in closing, you've come across a book known as Flatland. If you haven't read the book Flatland, please read it. You're not going to put it down. The writer is good, Edwin Abbott, very good writer, but the message is profound. The message talks, this was written in the 19th century, but it's still relevant today. Every page of that book is still relevant today. Flatland, by the way, is an imaginary world, because this is a fantasy novel, where everything is flat. Even human beings are flat. And then your status in this community is measured by the number of sites that you have. So basically a line is very low in terms of status. Then you've got a two-dimensional body, maybe two lines. Then you've got a triangle, which is getting there. Those are laborers. And then you've got a square. Ultimately, you end up with a circle. The circles would be your kings and queens. This is the status. But it's all two-dimensional. This is Flatland. And people here only knows life in that fashion, in Flatland. But one day in Flatland, and by the way, very interestingly in Flatland, women, for whatever reason in Flatland, are lines. Every woman is a line, except for the queens, because that is the lowest rung of the ladder in Flatland. Okay? Then it so happens that one day the sphere visits out of the blue. They had never seen a sphere. Here I will need your utmost imagination, and I'm sure you do have this imagination, ladies and gentlemen. If you think of a sphere in two dimensions, so this is two-dimensional space, and we have a sphere that is pushing through, and the residents are looking at this. So initially what you see, if you can imagine what I'm talking about, you'll see a dot on the two-dimensional space, and as it permeates through this sphere, this dot is going to expand until it gets to the diameter of the sphere, and then as it moves through the other side, it will shrink again until you get the dot. Can you hear what I'm saying? Can you picture what I'm talking about? So it's two-dimensional, and then if you think of it, it's a sphere. If you think of a ball, for example, hitting a glass, two-dimensional glass, what you see on the other hand when it touches the glass is just a dot. If it has to pull through this, you will see it increasing until it gets to the full diameter, and then, of course, it shrinks again to a dot. They had never seen this before in Flatland. And then everyone starts a discussion around what has just happened. And of course, the kings and queens, who happen to be circles, say, no, nothing much happened. What happened, it was one of our own that visited from somewhere. It's just that this one grows. Did you see a dot? That dot grew to a very, very big circle, and then it disappeared. That's all that has happened. But the others said no. We think we saw something we had never seen before. It does look like there is another dimension, not just the two dimensions. There's a third dimension. So all of a sudden, people pursue this, and then they discover that what they've always thought was normal was actually very abnormal. So what you've always thought was normal in the past, in terms of the profile of our organization, I want to assure you is really abnormal. we have to change it. And that is the closing remark that I want to have for you, leadership of the organization, and for you, ladies and gentlemen, the principal scientists and the principal researchers. Please, please keep up the good work. And this is home for you. Remember that. Cheers. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Majosi. As you were asking us to imagine, I was thinking of some of the people who are sitting here who have had to imagine velocity and speed and all the other things that we've had to imagine in our no-lab science days. Way back, I'm not going to expose how old I am by saying when I was in high school, but some of us had to imagine some of these things in science and chemistry, and they were saying, just imagine. And I think I just want to applaud some of you here who had to imagine the physics and the chemistry, but you made it, and we are celebrating you today. And the other thing that you spoke about was the fact that some of us researchers and engineers, maybe engineers are better than us, but researchers, the ones that wear lab coats and then they wear those glasses, apparently we're very bad in communication. And one of the things, or at least talking science to the layperson. So one of the things that we needed as part of them making it here today is for them to have popular articles. And by definition, popular articles were conversations, whether written or spoken, to the layperson. I'm hoping that as of today, none of you are going to say, why do we need this? The chairperson has already told you, we need to communicate science to the layperson. So popular articles, they stay. In case you had removed them from the career ladders, we are bringing back popular articles because the chairperson has already told us that we need to communicate science to the layperson. The other thing that you spoke to was the growth of Black South African scientists. And you also spoke about females in particular. I would also like to tell you that we're getting there. We even have a program where we are fostering the growth of the principal researchers of Black South African principal researchers. And I'm telling you, in 3 or so years' time, we will definitely be celebrating. And I think the one thing I like about this program is most of them who are participating in the program are the people that will tell you that I started as a C1 or C2 researcher at CSIR. Those are the ones that, in give or take 3 years, we will definitely be celebrating, and they will be saying, I started as a CSIR. Some of them actually did their masters and PhDs here at the CSIR, and it will definitely be a very big celebration when we then call them up to stage as principal research. In fact, one of the principal researchers that I know of that we're celebrating today, we took them to go and do their PhDs, and today we're celebrating. And just, I think when you go back to the board, you'll just, tell them that you saw the evidence of some of the work that we're doing. And then 3 years or so from now, you invite all of them. When we will then be celebrating the studentships, you tell them, you remind EXCO that let's make sure that the board members are here to celebrate homegrown. I'm told also that we have our alumni, some of our alumni are joining us virtually. Would like to recognize you as well. We know that you're continuing to shine the CSIR flag, and we rely on you to continue doing the work and telling the people about the good work that we're doing at the CSIR. Now, we're done talking. We're now starting with the celebrations. And I just want to remind you that we are in Africa, and in Africa, when we celebrate, we don't keep quiet. So can we really celebrate for real? We're now doing the Principal Researcher Awards. Because there's too many of you, we're not going to read your citations, and then we're not going to do too much of the Instagram moments. So what I'm going to need you to do is, as I call your name, please come up. Tebogo and Lorraine are going to help us there with the certificates and the gifts. Because of COVID, we're not touching things. We're just going to try as much as possible to adhere to the protocol. As you come up front, you're going to take a picture here, so you'll take your gift and then stand in between our esteemed guests, and then you will also take a picture, and then you come down this way. And your names are not appearing in any particular order, so there is no one who's better than the other. So don't think just because you called first, you are more important than the other. So the CSIR, we acknowledging the latest principal researcher promotions as part of the career ladder process. The chairperson has already said that it's not a promotion, but it's a recognition, and indeed we are recognizing you today. Receiving this status of principal researcher means that these colleagues are now recognized as specialists whose sustained track record has led to widespread recognition within their field, and who are able to lead research, development, and innovation programs. I'd like to call upon Dr. Dlamini and Dr. Chikwamba to come to the stage to hand over the gifts to the principal researchers. As Dr. Chikwamba comes up the stage, it's not written here, but I'm just going to say it because I knew it happened during my time. She is, if I am not mistaken, in fact, I can put my head on the block. She was the first black female chief researcher, and she is still fighting for that title now. I think she would rather use that title. I think she would rather use that title instead of the executive title. Every time she's like, but I'm a chief researcher, why did you take that title away from me? Yeah, so she is one of the chiefs who is still working to ensure that we grow the cohort of female chief researchers within the organization. Dr. Chikwamba, I'd like you to stand in that other cross, and then this other cross in the middle will be the principal researchers now. I'm going to start with calling your names. As I said, you fetch your certificate, and then you take your, when we were growing up, we used to call them Kodak moments. They are no longer Kodak moments, they are Instagram moments. So you stand in the middle there, and then you do your Instagram moment. As I call your name will be displayed on this screen. The first one is Jack DeVert. Oh, I forgot, Dr. D just reminded me, we are doing the elbow greeting or the foot greeting, whichever one works for you, and then please take your certificate so that when you do your Kodak moment, I think the names, just make sure it's the right one with your name. Yeah, I think when you do your Kodak moment, you must show your certificate and your gift. Lucia Steenkamp. Lucia, please stand a little bit whilst we, yeah, okay. Please, Jacques, when we come, okay, it's fine, you're already down the stairs, but can I ask the rest to come this way? Luzango Mfupe. Luzango is not here. Moshe will take his certificate when he goes down after taking, okay. Patience Mtunzi Kufa. If Patient's mother was here today, she will be alulating. So those who can... Sandy Tomala. I would like Sandy's boss to come and take her as a certificate afterwards. Santosh Ramchuren. Moshe Mason. Ebilo, Ebilo. You are not clapping because Abby is not standing up. Because now I'm wondering what's happening. Asmerom Beraki. Bulelang Sibulla. Craig Tong. Take your time, ma'am. Take your time. Don't worry. Isa Suleiman. George Sibia. Georges Mturi. I'm rushing. Sorry. I'm too excited. You can take your mask off now for your Instagram moment if you want. You are welcome to do that. So, George Sibia, Georges Mturi, Kaneshri Monsami, Heidi van de Venter. Kevin Klug. Kobe Smith, Lara van Niekerk, Lucy Sizwe Kwezi, Melusi Twala, Mufulo. Mohamed Balugan. Rian van den Doel. Silethelwe Chikosha. Tanyani Pandelani. Last but not least, Tirusha Tambiren. In case you did not notice, I've got the pleasure of standing in front here. So as I call out names, somebody who is leading the career ladder process is busy turning around. She's like, now I'm putting the face to the name, and she's very excited to see some of the people that she managed to promote who made it here. Thank you, Dr. D, and my namesake. Mara, I think Dr. D should remain. Yeah, I think he should remain. He still has a long way to go. Now we're doing the Chief Researcher Awards, and I'd like to call Prof. Majosi to come to the stage to join the CEO. Now, with the Chief Researchers, because there are not so many, we're going to read their citations. Or before I talk about these Chief Researchers, I'm going to lose my thought on this one. We had quite a number of ladies who came up front. So when I was growing up, researchers were these people who wear lab coats and then these big glasses, and they looked uninspiring. I must say that the ladies who came up front here, if there is your daughter who's watching online, they see that, you don't have to lose your touch in order for you to be a successful female researcher. They have really represented. I am sure the girls at home now can see that, oh no, actually, I don't have to lose out on doing my nails because I'm a scientist. Keep up the good work, ladies. Let's maintain the standard. Not that I'm not celebrating the men, but men are celebrated every day, so, yeah. Okay, now we're doing the Chief Researchers. I would like the recipients to remain on stage as I read up, so they will come as I read up their name. They will come and I'll continue reading, and they will only go down the stage once I've finished reading. So some of them might stand for a very long time because their citations are as long as them being Chief Researchers. The first one is David Reineker. David completed his B.Eng and B.Eng honors in mechanical engineering and a master's in engineering management at the University of Pretoria. He then went on to complete his PhD in engineering at Cranfield University in the UK. David started his career in aviation, and his achievements prior to joining the CSIR include assembling the first Rolls-Royce E4B gearbox manufactured in South Africa, the industrialization of the Rayfalk attack helicopter transmission system, project management of the Rolls-Royce gearbox program, and successfully bidding for the international manufacturing contract of the Trent 500 engine program. After joining the CSIR in 2004, David became a research group leader. In 2006, fulfilling this role until 2016, when he decided to focus on research, enabling young researchers to take up the leadership role. David successfully grew the protection research capacity within the defense and security cluster through the attraction of leading scientists, acquisition and implementation of core infrastructure and equipment, in-depth training of a young research team, and the development of needed blast test infrastructure at the Detonics, Ballistics and Explosive Laboratory. Recognizing a local gap in protection research, David has established a trauma biomechanical research capability within the Landward Sciences impact area. With support from his management team and young researchers, David was successful in attracting and increasing multi-year external funding to support this capability growth and related fundamental and applied research. These world-class capabilities have been a and continue to be used nationally and internationally to verify and validate international and local export products' performance, enabling local industry to compete successfully on the international stage. A core foundation of David's ongoing strategy has been leveraging collaboration with tertiary education institutions, military research organizations, and industry, both local and international. In addition to other CSIR cluster collaboration, partners include AMSCO, the University of Cape Town, Pretoria, Fort Hare, Rheinmetall, Denel Munition, locally and internationally, TNO, Netherlands, and Navy Research Laboratory, United States of America. Imperial College, London, David. London Metropolitan Police, the Defense Science and Technology Laboratory in the UK, etc., etc., etc. Like there's, yeah. David has been formally appointed to closed international research groups for more than 15 years and is currently serving in 6 international military panels. In addition to contributing and providing access to leading research and tools, the outputs from these experts panel drive and support international government policies, technology, research and acquisition, as well as the development of international test standards and methods. Locally, this international insight is used to maintain and update South Africa's national test standards, supports the development of national user requirements, and provide tailored solutions for national security imperatives. Locally, Avid interim founding chair of the Scientific Imaging Association of South Africa and is serving on the Aerospace Maritime Defense Industries Association subgroup, working on the rejuvenation of the local military manufacturing base. That is David for you. For those in DNS who always say, but I can't tell you what I'm doing, please ask David how he managed to give the right evidence. He'll be the mentor for the rest of DNS. The next one is Tepo. Tepo Tsekwa. Dr. Tsekwa is a protein biochemist trained at leading universities in London and Cape Town. Peers recognize him for his expert knowledge of recombinant production and characterization of biologics, including vaccine antigens, enzymes, and antibodies. His work focuses on developing cost-effective production processes for biologics manufacture, prioritizing partnerships with industry and other collaborators to expedite self-sufficiency and expanding access to expensive biopharmaceuticals to cost-sensitive markets in low and middle-income countries. In the past 7 years, Tepo has led the development of 8 technology demonstrators as TRL levels 6 to 8. 5 of these technologies have been transferred to industry, and 4 are currently in active practice in commercial settings. His work led to the establishment of a small, medium micro enterprise that presently employs about 25 staff. Tepo's involvement in the national response to the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in the licensing of COVID-19 diagnostic technology by SAPRA. This regulatory acceptance is a noteworthy career milestone for him, his team, and their industry partners. Furthermore, Tepo pursues an applied research and development program through which he trains students and postdoc researchers and produces outputs such as publications in leading international journals and patents to protect the intellectual property. He has trained 16 postdocs, PhDs, and MSc students to completion. Some of these have grown to the level of senior and principal researchers within the CSIR and elsewhere in the National System of Innovation. Having steadily climbed from postdoc to chief researcher within the CSIR, Tepo recognizes his commitment to growing and developing a productive team sustainably as an effective strategy to deliver towards the CSIR's mandate and advance his career growth. Tshepo has regularly served in an advisory capacity for local and international organizations like African Center for Gene Technologies, SAPRA, and the United Nations Technology Bank for least developed countries. He enjoys engaging with peers in his field and with the broader society through conferences, trade events, as well as the media, and strives to be a good ambassador for the CSIR. Adnan Abu Mahfouz. Professor Mahfouz Professor Mahfouz received his M.Eng and PhD degrees in computer engineering from the University of Pretoria. He is currently the Center Manager for Emerging Digital Technologies for 4IR Research Center at the CSIR, Extraordinary Professor at the University of Pretoria, Professor Extraordinary at Tshwane University of Technology, and Visiting Professor at the University of Johannesburg. He is an Associate Editor at the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering Access, so that's IEEE, Internet of Things, and IEEE Transaction on Industry Informatics. Senior member of the IEEE and member of the many IEEE technical committees. He has published more than 195 peer-reviewed papers. In the past 3 years, 10 PhDs and 13 masters have graduated under his supervision, and he's currently supervising 31 PhD and master's students at 9 local universities. He participated in the formulation of many large and multidisciplinary research and development successful proposals and has received various awards such as the CSIR Excellence Established Researcher Award and then CSIR Miraka Institute Collaboration Excellence Award and Outstanding Associate Editor Award. He's very modest. Moses Cho. Professor Cho is the research group leader of the Precision Agriculture Research Group, acting impact area manager for the Advanced Agriculture and Food Cluster, and an extraordinary professor with the Plant and Soil Science Department at the University of Pretoria. He holds a PhD in hyperspectral remote sensing of vegetation from Wageningen University and the International Institute from Geoinformatics Science and Earth Observations, the Netherlands, an MSc in Conservation Biology from Greenwich University in the UK, and a BSc in the Natural Sciences from the University of Yaoundé in Cameroon. He joined the CSIR in 2007 and has grown through the ranks from senior researcher to principal researcher and now chief researcher. He's an NRF-rated scientist and associate editor for 2 international journals, the president of the African chapter of the International Associate of Landscape Ecology, and the technical committee convener for algorithm development and application for the African Association of Remote Sensing of the Environment. He has published over 100 journals and peer-reviewed conference papers. Professor Cho. Villinel. Villinel is now Chief Radar Researcher at the CSIR and has also been appointed as the Technology and Innovation Manager for the Radar Research Group in the Defense and Security Cluster. He holds an MSc in Digital Image Processing from the University of Cape Town and a B.Eng Electronics from the University of Pretoria. He has been working passionately in the field of radar science since 1999, with a focus on radar system design, radar-based target recognition and imaging radar and radar signal processing. He has published 30 research papers in the radar target recognition and imaging and is the primary engineer behind several CSIR radar technology demonstrators. Currently, he is the chief engineer for the Synthetic Aperture Radar Group with a focus on the development of airborne UAV and spaceborne SAR systems. Since 2015, he has presented tutorials and guest lectures on radar-based target recognition in countries such as Australia, China, India, KSA, and the United Arab Emirates, UK, and the USA. In 2016, he was elected to serve on the IEEE AESS Radar Systems Panel. He is a senior member of the IEEE and elected chair of the IEEE committee that awards the Dennis J. Pickard Medal for Radar Technologies and Applications. He also serves on the IEEE ASS Vision and Perspectives Work Group. He has participated actively in North Atlantic Treaty Organization, science and technology research work groups on radar imaging since 2011. Since serving as the technical chair of the IEEE Radar Conference held in South Africa in 2015, he has served on the organizing committee of several international radar conferences and is the publication chair for the IEEE Radar Conference to be held in New York City in March 2022. He has acted as a reviewer for several IEEE and IET journals and conferences. Last but certainly not least, he's happily married and a father to 3 gorgeous kids. Just in case you thought that, just in case, you can have it all. You can have it all. Sisa Pijan. Okay. Until today, so as of today, this is going to change, ne? So Professor Pichana is currently employed as principal researcher at the National Laser Center in the Future Production Manufacturing Cluster. He has also been a professor extraordinaire at Tshwane University of Technology since 2007. In 2019, he obtained a doctoral degree from the University of Sussex in the UK. His doctoral research was focused on nonlinear optics and laser physics, focusing on frequency conversion. After completing his doctoral studies, he joined the University of Cape Town as a postdoc, where they patented a process of diamond detection on rocks for the De Beers Mining Company. He later joined the Nuclear Energy Corporation of South Africa, where they were developing lasers for uranium isotope separation. In 2000, he joined the CSIR's National Laser Center. With focus on laser technology, Professor Pichani has dedicated a lifetime to science and human capital development for Africa and the world. He has developed science that translates into engineering and commercialization. He formed the foundation of the Laser Materials Processing Research Group at the NLC. He led a team that developed hardening for bell stub axles, laser surface slading for corrosion prevention, and wear resistance, and many other projects. Professor Pichana is a recipient of several research grants and awards, including 2 CSIR thematic funds. In 2018, he was an NSTF finalist and received the CSIR Career Achievement Award for his contribution to the development of industrial laser technologies. He has successfully co-supervised and supervised 18 PhD and 10 master's students. Together with students, they have published in a number of peer-reviewed journals and published numerous conference papers. He also serves on a number of international scientific conference organizing committees. He has a number of international collaborations with whom he has joint research papers. His collaborators span across these countries, China, Germany, India, Italy, Japan, Russia, the UK, and the USA. His main focus is laser materials processing, looking into steel, titanium, aluminum, and other materials such as metal, matrix, composites, and functional graded structures, in addition to metal alloys necessary for aerospace, energy, and biomedicals. In the last 6 years, his research interest has focused on laser additive manufacturing and the development of new alloys, such as titanium aluminides and high entropy alloys, with the view of commercializing these products. Professor Pichani has been instrumental in the research programs and facilities at the CSIR NLC. These facilities include, among others, a world-class 3D printing and laser shock pinning laboratory for both research and commercial purposes. His scientific contributions are well recognized with over 2,500 citations. He has collaborations with many international institutions, which he manages through the DSI-NRF bilaterals. Most importantly, Professor Pichani believes and prides himself in knowledge sharing within the continent. Hence, he is a lead collaborator in the African Laser Center with different African universities. Prof. Pichani has made research in laser materials processing come alive in South Africa. Thank you. Mkhulumate. Dr. Mate is currently program manager of the Living Energy Lab platform of the Energy Research Center under the Smart Places cluster at the CSIR. His research interests focus on the synthesis and characterization on nanomaterials for energy applications like fuel cells and battery technologies, sustainable energy access solutions, including storage, and the policy space for the localization of standards and regulations. He is a leading scientist who leveraged over 30 years of experience in the National System of Innovation and has abilities to work across different disciplines, solving complicated, pressing challenges. He also serves as an examiner for master's and PhD candidates, a reviewer and editor, a supervisor and mentor in his career. He has published a book chapter, has over 100 publications, and presented more than 60 talks at different levels. He thrives on engaging the brightest scientists and engineers in finding solutions for sustainable and technologically complex world. He continues to expand his scientific knowledge through collaborations with global partners. He takes opportunities to develop continuously through formal and informal development programs and is involved in a wide array of projects. He completed the finance, contracts, and risk mitigation for private power investments in Africa 2021. Dr. Mate enjoys being part of teams that solve challenging problems, challenging and real-world problems for clients, and has traveled extensively collaborating and contributing to workshops and conferences, as well as presentations. Dr. Mate receives his MSc in physical chemistry from the University of Transkei, now Walter Sisulu University. He received his PhD in analytical chemistry from the University of Georgia under the direction of Professor Stinkney. He worked on the deposition and characterization of nanocrystalline semiconductor materials. He became a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Georgia and continued to work with mercury electrode deposition for MCT detectors. Mkhulu has been the chair of the University of Johannesburg PEETS station since 2016. He contributes to the organization of local and international conferences like the AMRS 2017 in Botswana and ISE 70 2019 in Durban. He serves as a director for Technifin SOC and is on the advisory board for Isondo Precious Metals NACI subcommittee and NACI subcommittee on energy storage. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, CEO. I must say this is a great way to wrap up the awards ceremony. The recipients of the 2021 CSIR Principal and Chief Researcher Awards, I'd like to congratulate you once again. However, I just want to remind you that now that you've climbed the ladder, you are up there. Please don't kick the ladder. keep it there, and even better, make sure that you pull others to actually get to the point where you are. But we're not done yet. I would like to, I don't know if you guys were aware that about a week or two ago, the organization, there was a, but again, it was not an idols, but then we got to see a CSIR got talent. We got to see that CSIR people are not just scientists. So now, we were embarking on a values campaign to promote our epic values. We have contracted Gateway Media to assist us to translate our values in a video format. The team from Gateway Media has been on campus since 3 November recording videos for this campaign. I would like to call Tato Molamo, who's going to join us virtually. He's from Gateway Media, and he's going to share with us what it is that they have observed during the process of values campaign during the video shoot. So please just give us a moment as we listen to Tato.
Good morning. I'm not sure. Come on. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, colleagues. How are you?
We are fine. We can hear you.
Okay. Firstly, I'd like to say a very good morning to all the colleagues and congratulations to the principal researchers and also to the chief researchers. I guess when the Dr. Mamuleti was presenting the CVs, it was quite moving and impressive to see that indeed, to be a chief researcher is not just a one-day job. You don't just wake up tomorrow and be a chief researcher. It's determination, it's hard work, it's collaboration, it's hours and hours of committing to the science. I also want to acknowledge in the room Professor Thokozane Majosi, who also spoke quite well also about the spirit of advancing African research. I think for an individual like me who didn't perform as well in science at school, but I've always just been intrigued at how an individual can look at soil and be able to determine, whether you can grow crop or tomatoes or be able to even find medicinal use in things like trees. So indeed, today has been really an informative session also for me being a young person. And also I'd just like to acknowledge Dr. Tulane Dlamini, who is leading the institution of the CSIR. I myself am Sibuna Tato Molamo. I'm the Managing Director of Gateway Media, which is a 360 marketing and production company. We've been in existence for 10 years. I'm a philanthropist at heart. I also run the Tato Molamo Foundation, which focuses on 3 key areas, which is health, education, and creative industries. And through health, we've been running a health awareness project called the Pink Golf Challenge, raising funds to build mobile clinics to help young patients that are affected by cancer in rural and township areas. And also we run the first township entrepreneurial business school for creatives called the Leaders in Motion Academy, taking young people from underprivileged backgrounds and also just giving them access into education. And as the professor was talking about children from Mamelodi also just having access to understanding what the CSIR does. Part of our work is that we use media and we use creative leaders to package stories of great leaders that have had impact in their societies that never really get the opportunity to be highlighted for the work that they have done. And our students have worked with data scientists, drone pilots, software developers. That was part of the 4IR program launched by the minister 2 years ago. So we are quite excited also to be part of, bringing to life these 4 beautiful values of the CSIR, one being collaboration, the other being integrity, the other being people-centered and excellence. For me, those values were really quite interesting, and I guess for us and our team getting the opportunity to work on the values project, we got to learn so much about what the CSIR does.
And I asked just for the opportunity just to say thank you to everyone that works in the CSIR for the amazing work that you do. And I think it is yet as important as the professor was talking about, getting it out there. And you know, for us as marketers and as TV producers, we felt that this is such a great platform for us to be part of these values so that we can also ourselves spread the word. I mean, we have access to over 20 million viewers. And we want more people to know about science and innovation and how science has contributed and changed all of our lives. Apologies if my voice sounds bad. I am COVID positive, so because I've also made the commitment to speak today, I just wanted to take this opportunity to really just to say, I guess, one message to the chief researchers and the principal researchers. You know, this is a quote that I took from Esther T, which says the massive shift you've been waiting for is about to invade your personal space. Don't stop. It's powerful. It's a powerful way. Allow it to completely transform your journey in ways that only the universe could manifest. Your spirit has already anticipated the changes that are headed its way. Now it's time for your heart and mind to catch up to it. A new world of opportunities, breakthroughs, and unlimited abundance is opening up for you. Embrace the energy while it's still fresh. Prepare to move forward with grace and gratitude. Your path has never been clearer. So, taking those values of collaboration, integrity, people-centered, and excellence, we got to work with one of the most admirable performers, you know, who is one of the actors that you find that reads so much and is so well versed. His name is Mr. Muller, and I hope that as the CSIR, we really will love the way that you are able to tell your story and what your values mean, because you've also got to participate and work together with your team, from your communications team, your marketing team, who are also very, very amazing team to work with. And we also got to see some of the talent that is hidden there in the CSIR. We've got actors, poets, dancers, that were also part of these videos. So please embrace these videos because they really are about telling us the story that if I was a young person and I wanted to work with the CSIR, these values will definitely speak to me. Tell me about the culture, because we really did get to see that you are people-centered, you drive through innovation, and you are so much of hard workers. So I want to say thank you for the privilege for allowing us to work on these videos, and we really, really hope that you get to enjoy them and get to share them with friends and friends and family. And thank you very much to your CSIR team. And one of the things we wanted to commit to as Gateway Media is to sponsor 7 awards to the chief researchers that have also won today. And we hope that they will be accepted with great love. But thank you very much to CSIR team, to the leadership support for doing amazing work, and keep shining the light for South Africa through innovation, and know that your work is impacting lives every single day. Thank you very much.
Invite Dr. Marcel Muller to come and say a few words, some closing remarks. Dr. Marcel Muller.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Csir, for having led this day quite ably, and to our chairperson, Professor Majosi, the CEO of the CSIR, ExCo members present here, members of the media, our celebrants of the day, the principal researchers and chief researchers, the members of staff of the ICC for having prepared this venue quite well. I see it's nicely social distanced and quite fitted with the gadgets to sanitize. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, Apparently, I'm not audible. I'll start from scratch. No, I'm kidding. So the colleagues joining us online, Mr. Manamo just spoke now. Uh, the it's been a pleasure on this day, and I wanted to reflect just a little bit, to abuse this occasion, this stance to reflect on that particular table as Dr. Musia looked at that table and talked about all this. And unfortunately, it seems to be statistically correct. And thanks to yours truly, I think I'm checking up the average age on that table to quite a number. So it's now on a more serious note, colleagues. There could not be a more important celebration than what we are doing today, to get to this level of achievement for principal researchers and chief researchers is not easy. The motto of one of my 3 alma maters I went to school in the US and left when I was a young person. Their motto is, I will find a way, or I will make one. These are the colleagues, whether they have expressed this or not, they live life finding ways where there are no ways, making ways to make sure that the CSR succeeds. And this is really the center of the engine of the organization. As a science, engineering, technology institution that seeks to innovate and indeed take solutions to the market so as to make people's lives better here and everywhere. So we really appreciate your resolve to stay in this space. We know life is not easy. In the middle of COVID, some of you made it possible for South Africa to manage to keep its place in the management of this mammoth pandemic. So one cannot overstate the appreciation that we have for yourselves, for the teams you lead, and indeed for overcoming the challenges that you do on a daily basis. A lot of things you have to do or you have overcome are not well scripted. That is why it's so remarkable. To reach where you have reached, you had to solve things that haven't been solved before. So without getting carried away, let me express my appreciation to all of you, to the teams that you lead, and to your families who support you. And I know that for some of you, actually for all of you, this life-work balance is bad hearsay. And you have families that love you enough to stay, to support you, and that have the patience to recognize that your talents, your resolve, your emotional intelligence to go up and down with the waves and still come on top and making us all look good is what makes you special. So with those few words, and maybe in recognition of everyone that has made this day possible, leadership teams and everyone else, thanks a lot for making this day possible and making it a remarkable day. Thanks a lot.
I did not have enough time to think about what to say about Dr. Marcel Muller, so the 5 minutes when I was sitting down, I got to think. So forgive me for not, addressing him, or at least telling you about him as he was coming up stage. At the CSIR, we do not only grow chief scientists, we also grow science leaders. He's one of those people that has done just about all roles, but one at the CSIR. So he was an engineer, he became, okay, he did not make it to the chief because then he went to the other side. You see, at CSIR we have the leaders of science and leaders in science. So he chose the leadership role and he was a competency area manager way back then when we called them competency area manager, and now he's the group executive of mining, manufacturing and defense and security division. We call them division 2, we call it division 2. So we also have, we are able to grow leaders as well. Thank you, Ndate Maseromol. We have sadly come to the end of our ceremony today, and it was indeed a pleasure for me to be leading the proceedings today. I would like to formally request the recipients, I spoke about Instagram moments earlier. You have an opportunity to take your pictures, but before there's too much traffic, I think we'd just like to request the chief researchers to come and take a picture with the executive and our chairperson. Please try and social distance, so that all 7 plus 6, they are able to stand in front for our IG moment. And with that, I would really like to thank you. And you cannot come to the ICC and not have something to eat. So there is lunch outside in the foyer. So when you're done taking the pictures, you're more than welcome to join the rest of the people for a networking sessions outside. I'd like to thank you. And please keep safe. There's another variant. Let's try and not have it, mess up our festive season. I thank you.